What did you just say?
I said your dream stinks.
He said it again. Come here.
What's up? This is Jake with Team Snuggly Duckling, and today we have Jourdon Serio, the first place in the 10K at PPG's Fort Worth event in Texas this past weekend. Did a great job in the 10K, and we'll talk about the 15K in a little bit. I'm sure everyone knows he did very well in that too. He top 8'd in that. But let's go and start off with a little bit of a deep dive on what he was playing in that 10K, where he was hot. He was it seemed like he was unbeatable. It was really a very impressive run, my friend. Very, very impressive run. So let's take a look at his deck and just let him kind of explain the numbers and a little bit what he thought about how it played. And this is his first list of the 10K right here, guys. So I'm going to let you explain a little bit of the spice that you played here first, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. If you want to kind of go into detail on the win cons and kind of just a little bit about the numbers on the deck.
Yeah, so green-purple wasn't my first choice for the tournament.
It was not.
It was green-yellow, but I just felt like the green-purple deck had a lot more agency than green-yellow did, especially like into like the purple matchups and against like other aggro decks.
Right.
You just have against like steel aggro, like you kind of can get Pete locked out a bunch, so you can't under the sea them, or like the purple decks can kind of Elsa your singers down, brawl your singers down, and it's not great to just get ran over. So like, with that in mind, I do like the discard playstyle and the Diablo playstyle. And so I came around to green-purple. And the thing I like most about it is that you just have so much agency. You just can, the deck is very versatile. You can play it in multiple ways.
Yeah.
You can play it in ways that counter the ways that your opponent's trying to counter you. Like, obviously I won the 10K and then I top 8 the 15K. And everyone I played against knew who I was and knew what I was playing.
Yeah.
And they were mulliganing for Diablo answers.
Right away, which is, I mean, you had a target on your head right away, winning that 10K, going straight into the 15K with two round bye. That's great, but still, everyone knew what you were playing. So
yeah, round 4, I played one drop Diablo, the green one, and looked at my opponent's hand, and he had 2 fire the cannons. and the evasive broom.
Yeah, he definitely meant to keep that hand. I'm sure.
Yeah, he kept 5. Yeah. So, but with that said, this deck is good because it doesn't rely on Diablo. Even though it looks like it, you're playing 14 Diablos, but you're not reliant on Diablo, which is cool. So let's talk about some of the card choices. 7 1-drops, not 8. It's mostly to allow to play tech cards. Like I'm playing Bells and Cove and Hypnotic Strength and a card that's no longer in my deck. And stuff like that. Like the deck, even though it looks like it relies on Diablo, you actually don't want to play Diablo on the draw against most decks because it's a liability.
Because it gets panned or rushed
or brawled or
exactly
or smashed. Even I had a Diablo get smashed. So kind of the game plan for the deck is to against aggro decks you want to play. You actually want to see the 1-drops, but like you can get away with not seeing your 1-drops.
Yeah.
Because the Ursula is very good against the steel decks, taking away songs, and then like crabbing a Diablo 1, either one actually, because the green one takes out daisies if you crab it, the purple one crashes into most other things that aren't daisies.
Right.
And then also having the 7 2-drops, the Diablo 2 is very good against aggro. The Ursula getting pumped by a crab is great. And then going into that with evasive Peter Pans or crabs, and then following that up with like any of the 4-drop suite. Genie, Iago, and Chip are all very good against aggro.
Yeah.
Chip takes a card out of their hand, and then you're able to trade Iago if they don't have any songs in their hand or targeted, like if they don't have like fire the cannons or stuff like that.
Right.
Iago can just swing the matchup. So if they waste their removal on Diablo, the Iago is very good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just know that the Iago is just it's such a good purple matchup card, and it was for those purple matchups. But
even blue can't really kill it. And then
true.
You can set up a Iago on turn 4 and then go into Elsa and then take out a shark.
Yeah.
Then to finish out the curve, you have Cricky, which allows you to just take out all of aggro, and then the Elsas and the Bells are super important because you're able to get untapped characters with those.
Yeah.
Which is how aggro tries to close out games. And the deck felt very good against aggro. On the other hand, you have the discard, which makes the deck very good against more controlling decks like purple, red, purple, blue.
Yeah. Slower
or
decks.
red, blue. Yeah. So just the versatility of the deck is really the key for the deck to perform well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got a couple questions. On these 7 1-drops, that's a very scary number. Were there a couple of games in this 10 or 15K that you wished you might have ran 8, or is 7 the number that you feel that's comfortable with how you mulligan with your hand?
Yeah, I felt very comfortable. If you blind, I'm always keeping the purple 1-drop. The green one can get shipped if I'm on the draw. On the play, I'll keep it because it's good against aggro, and you want the shift Diablo. But I didn't really miss them really. I had a couple games where I even inked the green Diablo 1-drop instead of just playing a 1-drop.
Right.
Against red blue or purple steel if I knew that they were on the anti-Diablo plan.
Right.
But even with that, it can be really good just to play 1-drop green Diablo and not really utilize it, just so you can see your opponent's hand and get a bunch of information.
Yeah.
But I didn't really miss the 8th 1-drop.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good call. I know some people say that might be crazy in a Diablo deck, not just full mulling your whole hand for a Diablo, but I think you're right with that game plan. With this deck is on the play, it might be more intuitive and helpful to shift Diablo onto, but on the draw, it typically dies in a turn. If you get 2 turns out of it, it's a miracle, honestly. So I think you're right with that. Another question I have with this is the 1 Cove. Did it show up enough? Did it show up for you to win?
One of Cove was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Really, having the 7 1-drop, 7 2-drops allows you to have a couple tech cards. So the tech cards really in this list are the 1 of Cove and the Bell. Those are the cards that you're enabled to play by not playing redundant cards.
Yeah.
And the Bell and the Cove both played a huge role in winning this weekend. The Cove is just so good as another anti-aggro card or a protection against Sisu, or helps you win evasive wars that your opponents aren't expecting to win. It's just a very good card. And the thing is, it's not a crutch card. In Green Steel, it can sometimes be a crutch card where, you need to have your Diablo survive at all costs. So your Diablo has to survive or you just lose. This is not that deck. It might look like that deck because you're playing so many Diablos, but that's not the game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want your Genie to survive a Sisu, and having it in a Cove wins you the game.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about the Never Come Back. How did that card work?
I actually don't know what the name of that card is or what it does. It's just ink or discard food. That's about it. Never really came up. It's never coming back in my deck. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I got advice to play that card by someone. I don't remember who.
Yeah, I
But
don't remember who either, man. We'll find out one day.
it's
But
tricky.
yeah, you did fairly well with this deck that day. Like I said, it seemed probably almost unbeatable. You did lose one match. What was that to?
That was against Tyler, the winner of the 15K the next day. Actually, he was playing Red Blue Shark. My experience on the weekend, I 2-0'd two Red Blue Sharks. So I was 4-0 against Red Blue Sharks on the weekend outside of Tyler. Me and Tyler had a 9-game series where he won 5-4. So I think the Shark matchup is generally good, but Tyler's an exceptional player, and just the power level of that deck, if you know how to utilize it well, like it's kind of hard. You are disadvantaged against that deck if your opponent really knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it also is kind of like a play-draw thing where a lot of the problematic plays come from them being on the play, like having a turn 4 Shark, and I'm on turn 3, and then I have to wait till turn 5 so I can Bruno the Shark if I don't find wrong lever,
Right.
or stuff like that. Being able to go Elsa, tap Shark, and then run the Diablo 2 and Elsa into the Shark to clear it, that is only possible on the play. So it's definitely a kind of a play draw disparity, but it is very winnable on the draw. It's just Tyler's a beast.
Yeah. So, with this list, were there any cards that you, other than they never came back, that you considered maybe switching around, or is the list right here is tight other than that one card?
If I had to choose to go into a tournament tomorrow, I would run this 60 with the Hypnotizer. Would they never come back?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not to say there's not like some tech cards. There's the Hypnotic Strength, the Bell, the Cove, the Hypnotize, maybe one Peter Pan, maybe one Chip. Those are flexible spots. Like you could have 4 Elsa, you could have 4 2-drops if you really want. You could have 4 Crabs, you could have 3 Wrong Levers, you could have 2 Cove, you could have 2 Bells. The deck is very flexible and you can adjust it to your meta. If you think you're going to play against more purple decks, then I recommend playing like more Hypnotic Strength, because like to kill just snipe Iagos. If you're playing against more red-blue decks, then maybe play 2 Hypnotize instead of Hypnotic Strength, or maybe if you don't have any aggro in your deck in your region for some reason, then you could play 2 Crabs. You could play no Bells.
Right.
The deck's very flexible, but if I was taking it to a tournament, I feel very comfortable with like this 60.
Okay.
59.
So, with that in mind, let's hear it. What do you think your top 2 matchups that you want to see with this deck? And then give us your experience in the tournament where those 2 matchups actually came into play.
So the 2 matchups you want to see are red-blue, items or Shark, to be honest, especially if they cut their brawls, and the Amber Steel.
Yeah.
Song specifically, but you're not afraid of the aggro decks because of all the interaction that you have towards fighting aggro.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times against Amber Steel that you can utilize your discard in a way that is kind of like removal, like sudden chills. Like if you have a Peter Pan out, that might by itself freeze the board because they don't want to quest their characters into an Iago with Rush, or a Genie with Rush. So like you could kind of take the turn off to fire off discard to like remove their Lawrence before they play it, or remove their Doc if you can snipe 2 cards on the same turn.
Right.
It's find the ways to best utilize your discard against aggro is going to make that matchup very winnable. It could, if you end up with a Prince John on turn 3, it could seem like you're about to get ran over, but if you can convert that with a chip on turn 4, you made them discard their Lawrence, and then you drew a card. Maybe that card's an Elsa or a Bell or a Wrong Lever, and you can also just Cricky the Prince John or Crab the Prince John,
Right.
which you can't really do in the green steel or green yellow decks. It's just about maximizing your cards and just being versatile.
Yeah, and it is a very versatile deck. With all the evasives in it, it's hard for a lot of these decks to take care of the characters that are on board. Mainly, only like full clears are really the way to kill most of these cards, unless you have evasives, like I said, in your deck, or just spot removal. So let's hear your worst matchups. What matchups would you not want to see with this deck, or are you teching towards your worst matchup at all?
Yeah, so the worst matchups are the purple decks, like green purple tempo, Warple, and red purple evasives are kind of like the worst matchups. But even so, that's mostly if you're stuck on Diablo.
Yeah.
If you are not stuck on Diablo and you have like a crab as your 3-drop, you can very much fight green purple tempo and then eventually win with the evasive war. And I'm playing towards that with cards like Bell and Chip, also very good in that matchup, taking out possible like goats that they're holding in their hand or stuff like that. And against the purple decks, on the play you can get away with shifting to Diablo against some of them,
Right.
but that's not your priority. Your priority is to try to discard them, and I'm playing 3 chips to try to really discard them. Try to get a Prince John on board, and then turn all your discards into +1s. And then also, once you get 2 Prince Johns on board, you really can grind out all those purple decks.
Yeah.
The matchup I thought was going to be the trickiest for me all weekend was going to be red purple evasive when I was in Top Cut for the 10K, and I 2-0'd them by just utilizing Prince Johns, and all my discards turned. Eventually, I had 3 Prince Johns out, and all my studded shows turned into Finders Keepers for 2.
Yeah. You were able to rip songs with Ursula too, which is really, really, really good.
So it's mostly about like approach for like your bad matchups. The deck is tech to beat them. But there's versions of this deck that are lighter on discard. Ed was playing a version with like no discard, and that deck just can't beat purple decks or blue decks.
Yeah.
So being able to understand like how to approach matchups definitely helps. And one of the ideas, if you're playing this into a field with a lot of purple decks, is that if they're holding answers for Diablo and you're making them discard, then they're going to be discarding their proactive cards. They're going to be discarding like their Tamatoas if they're playing Blurple, or their Finders Keeper. They probably won't discard Finders Keepers. They'll be discarding like maybe like goats or stuff like that. And like if you never shift to Diablo, then like they are just in trouble.
Yeah, they hold cards that they find out that it's too late,
Yeah,
and then
even so, like they are now inking cards that they don't want to ink because they discard the cards that they wanted to ink.
Yeah.
So, like doing that allows you to come into a position where you can just win the evasive war and never play Diablo. You can squeeze them for like their gas cards, and then like maybe they discard their Iago because they're trying to hold a brawl in case you shift. But now, like, all right, I'll play my Iago, and now I'm just winning because Iago's so good in that matchup. So, understanding how you approach the matchups definitely helps.
Yeah, and then like I said, my last question for this deck would be: did you prep at all with this list before the 10K? And if you did, what did you prep with?
With this specific list, I did not prep.
Yeah.
I did play this similar list, but I played 2 improvise instead of hypnotic strength, and they never come back. But the improvises just aren't at their peak right now. I don't know if they've had a peak, but they are not at the peak. Hypnotize is just better at the moment hypnotic strength is just better at the moment because it just lets you hit the right tier of strength. Like with if you hit Hypnotic Strength a Diablo 1 green, then you can take out X3s. If you Hypnotic Strength a Diablo purple 1 drop, then you can take out Piglets. You can take out Smees that have quested. You can take out ladies, stuff like that. You can with same if you hit it with an Ursula, or if you Hypnotic Strength a Genie.
The Diablo can take out the 2-drop Diablo can hit a shark. And
it can hit a shark and it can hit a rhino.
Yeah, pretty good. That's
Hypnotic Strength on a Genie can take out a Daisy. Stuff like that. It just lets you hit a good strength tier, and I prefer playing Hypnotic Strength over Improvise any day of the week. But the idea with the They Never Come Back was that maybe people were going to play a lot of Iagos, or maybe you could squeeze and tempo out Amber Steel, but it didn't play out that way, and I hate the card.
Yeah, I agree. So this was your 10K list, and then you did very well with it, like I said. But we're gonna move into your 15K list and ask you a couple questions about that one. That list was fairly similar, but like you said, just the list was a little bit different. So let's share that list and go over that one. Alright, can I make it bigger? No, we can see it there. Alright, this is your updated list for the 15K. As you can see, you took out the Pinocchio song and put in one Hypnotize. I want to ask you, did that one Hypnotize come into play where you were like, damn, this is the card. I'm so glad I put this one card in.
Yeah. It was another discard spell in a field full of a bunch of red-blue players.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was much more impactful than They Never Come Back. Just having a density of discard against red-blue really helps, or like purple decks in general. The Hypnotize was great. I liked the Hypnotize, but if you expected a field of like more aggro decks, then like Hypnotic Strength is probably the call. Yeah. But on the day, I really liked Hypnotize, for sure.
So you're saying if there was a lot of purple decks in your locals, you'd be playing the Hypnotic Strength and more red-blue Hypnotize is the changes. In this day, did you see any decks that came that you didn't really see in the first tournament, the 10K?
I played against... I don't think I played against any Purple Steel on Friday, but I definitely played against 2 Purple Steels on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And I like that matchup a lot. They can't really fight in the air against you. So once you win, once you stabilize, like you're just able to quest out. They can't really quest back because they just lose their entire board.
Yeah, their draw is not the greatest.
Yeah. And then the thing is, like, they have answers to Diablo, but if they don't see a Brum, then it's hard for the evasive Brum. It's kind of hard for them to take it out safely because like you can snipe songs unless they have like maybe like a fire the cannons or something. But once you get a Diablo loose on Purple Steel, then they basically lose the game because they can't keep up with your card draw at all.
Yeah, I agree. And then they're like I said, they're drawing. Typically, they're playing docks and. Discarding 2 cards from an opponent's hand is like a joke with this deck. Like you can do it almost on turn 4. You can almost annihilate someone's hand. Yeah. I mean, your 15K list was fantastic. You lost to Red Blue, which was another player that you actually played in Top Cut in the 10K, who you beat to go on to win. He's one of the only opponents you lost to the whole weekend, including, and then there was one other one who, that was the
Amber Rob Steel. With the You Have Forgotten Me Amber Steel.
Yeah, who came in, second? He came in second, or did he win?
Came in second. Yeah, the only two people I lost to came in first and second on the 15K.
Yeah, so.
Shout out to Tyler and shout out to Rob. I felt very good about the deck. I think it's... I don't know if it's the best deck. The best deck's probably Shark deck, but if you're looking for like a fun, interactive deck that like gives you a lot of agency and like you don't just lose games because you have a bad opening. I think this is a good deck to play. I had one game where I completely bricked, but outside of that, I felt very good about my chances in any game.
Right. And that's one game out of how many you're talking here?
I was 18-3 in matches played this weekend. So 21 matches that I played, I had a draw in like 2 buys, so 2 of the 2-round buys from the tournament. So yeah,
that's pretty good. Just good overall because most decks, out of 10, maybe 12 games, you get a brick or two. It's a possibility. Mulligan, the Mulligan is, I call it, that's where you win the game, is in the Mulligan typically. And how hard is it to really mulligan this deck? And like you said, I know you don't want to really go for Diablos and such, but were you more so just understanding your opponent's deck is how to mulligan, or are you looking for a set cards?
Blind, on the play, you'll take either the Diablo 1s, you'll take either 2-drop, and you really want Crab blind, just because it's very needed for the aggro decks. On the play, I would consider taking Prince John blind, depending on the texture of the rest of your hand. Outside of that, those are my main keeps blind.
Yeah.
On the draw, I just wouldn't keep the 2-drop or the 1-drop Green Diablo. If I know what I'm playing against, then that kind of changes things. Because then you want Peter Pan, you want Crab against aggro,
right.
You want Discard and John, and you want the Shift Diablo against Red Blue. Against purple decks, you can have some fun mulliganing, where you can keep a whole 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop.
Yeah.
Iago's really good against purple decks that can't target. The best card, if you have the Diablo Shift in your hand, having it pull the lever to discard with it is the best thing to discard because it enables the wrong lever. And the wrong lever is just broken, it's so good, it's the best removal card in the game.
Yeah.
Those are the main mulligan decisions that you're going to go through.
Yeah.
Crab's very important against aggro. Peter Pan's very important against aggro. Prince John's very important against purple or blue decks.
And then my last question for you on this list is, what made you want to play green purple? I know you played yellow green. Was yellow green just not performing, or what made you want to switch to this color base?
So the main thing that made me want to play the deck is that it just feels like you are in all the games that you play. It doesn't feel like you're just boxed out of any game. That can beat any deck. It had the best matchup spread in my opinion, where it was very favored against the red-blue decks. It was pretty favored against the amber-steel decks. It was slightly unfavored against the purple decks, but you're not unfavored in a set 4 red-blue versus red-purple way. You're unfavored in a 45-55 way, or even less than that maybe. Because there are lines that you can just beat any deck really. So that's what kind of drew me to the deck, as opposed to green yellow, where you are very favored against red blue and you're pretty favored against amber steel.
Yeah.
But you have problems against purple decks that are kind of where you just lose no matter what you do. And I didn't really like that. I liked the fact that green purple made me feel like I had more agency in all my decisions, and it was a great deck.
Yeah.
Recommend.
Well, I believe that's about all the questions I have. I mean, any last words about your deck tech and how this won you so well? It really kicked ass. It really did, man.
I think there's some things that you should be able to see with the deck. I'm only playing 3 crabs because I think Peter Pan overlaps as the fourth crab. The Bell overlaps as a 4th crab. the Cove overlaps kind of as a fourth crab. You have the Hypnotic Strings that also act as a crab. There's a lot of tech choices in here, and I valued having less 4-ofs and having a couple like 1-ofs that had versatility. Like the Bell being able to survive Sisu was kind of big for me, where like as opposed to like an Elsa, if I'm just having a fourth Elsa, like it does really nothing against Sisu besides like sometimes you can snipe it, but it doesn't help you like close out a game against Red Blue. The Bell closed out a game for me against Red Blue one round where they play Sisu and they wipe a lot of my characters, but I'm still able to quest with the Bell, and now they have to run their Sisu into the Bell, and they removed it for me. So
Yeah.
When you look at the list, it might look like it's kind. The numbers are kind of wacky. Like you have a lot of 3-ofs and a lot of 1-ofs and a couple 2-ofs, but they're mostly intentional, and they all serve an overlapping purpose. So if you look at the deck and like you want to pick it up, kind of maybe think about like, oh, like what matchups is this good in, and like what is the alternative to this card, but then also like why would I be playing that instead of like another a fourth copy of Crab or a fourth copy of Elsa or more Peter Pans or a fourth copy of One Drop Diablo. There's a lot of different little nuances here, and I hope I kind of gave people insight into like how I think about them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of people are kind of starting to move away from the 4-of everything. At least the people that are winning these tournaments, if you notice, they're steering away and playing these tech cards like you do, a 1-of this, a 1 of that, that kind of favors them into the certain matchup that they want to be favored into. Rather it be their already favored matchup to really solidify the win, or to maybe give them an edge against a matchup that doesn't really. It's a hard matchup. It's a grindy matchup that you have to go through, like you said, those other purple decks and stuff. But really, really great run, dude. Like you did great. You did great. And PPG treated you well. The event was amazing. So.
Oh yeah. But I can't be happier about the way the events were ran. It gave me a little bit of hope for Lorcana's future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you have any shout-outs, shout them out right here, and then we'll cut it.
Let's see, we're going to shout out to the team.
Team
Ducks.
The Ducks. Quack it up.
Ducklings. Our podcast, Tavern Talks.
Tavern Talk.
Shout out to the podcast. Shout out to my girlfriend, Allie.
Allie.
Shout out to Robbie Lee for not being able to be here.
Oh,
and
man.
shout out to you, Jake, for doing so well with the deck that I decided I got faith back in it and started replaying it again.
Dude, this is a great deck. It's always I've been preaching about this since I got kicked out of Blue Steel. I did try Blurple for a little bit, but yeah, I'm not going to talk about all that. But yes, this is a great deck. I love this deck. And I'm glad you did great with it. Like I'm really happy. But my final thoughts is this meta is fucking awesome. Like this is such an awesome meta, and I love that decks like this can top these major events where you see a sprinkle here and there, but never really topping an event. This is the first time that Green Purple's really done it for this set. So good job again, man. And I think that's it. We're done with this. So we appreciate y'all watching the Deck Tech. We call it Duck Tech, and we'll be posting it as soon as we can. But thanks.
Peace.
Under the beams, where the shadows dance, a tankard of ale in each eager hand's chance. The snuggly duckling, a haven so bright, with laughter and cards under candlelight. Shuffle the deck, let the fortunes unfold. In the snuggly duckling, their stories retold. With kings and queens and a jokester's cheer, this merry old pub will always hold dear. Rogues and knights with a glimmering eye, Bet their last coin as the moments fly. The jester hums tunes, the wench taps her toes. A world full of mischief where anything goes. Shuffle the deck, let the fortunes unfold. In the snuggly duckling, the stories retold. With kings and queens and a jokester's cheer, this merry old pub will always hold dear. With a glimmering eye, bet their last coin as the moments fly. The jester hums tunes, the wench taps her toes. A world full of mischief where anything goes. Shuffle the deck, let the fortunes unfold. In the snuggly duckling, their stories retold. With kings and queens and a jokester's cheer, this merry old pub will always hold dear. Pass me the cards and a swig of your brew. Aces to dragons, we're breaking through. The firelight flickers, the stakes run high. This game of the daring neath the darkened sky. The snuggly duckling, where whispers converge. Tales of old glories and heroes emerge. The cards hold their secrets, your destiny's fate. A knave could be royal if fortune creates.